$1 billion bank collapses overnight. Thousands of employees lose everything. Retirement savings, gone. Homes, lost. CEOs, meanwhile, vanish into private jets, golden parachutes intact. From bribery and secret payoffs to accounting wizardry that rewrote reality. These aren't scenes from a crime thriller. These were real decisions, made in boardrooms that shattered lives across the world. And in some cases, no one was ever held accountable. We're about to dive into the darkest corners of corporate greed. Scandals so massive, they shook stock markets, collapsed global trust, and changed laws forever. From big oil and big pharma to tech startups and global banks, these aren't just business failures. They're deliberate, calculated betrayals of public trust. And what's worse, some of the guilty are still thriving, shielded by power, money, and silence. Buckle up, because these stories aren't just shocking, they're infuriating. Hey Fact Hunters, welcome to the Top 10 Facts Club, where we expose the real stories they don't want you to know. If you're into deep dives, untold truths, and jaw-dropping revelations, hit that follow button now, because scandal number 1 will make you question how the world really works. Let's uncover the damage. Scandal number 10. Wells Fargo's fake accounts nightmare. Between 2002 and 2016, Wells Fargo employees created more than 2 million unauthorized bank and credit card accounts without customer knowledge or consent. This wasn't a rogue incident. It was a byproduct of an internal sales culture that rewarded quantity over integrity. Employees faced unrealistic daily quotas, opened 8 accounts per customer, or faced discipline. Under immense pressure, they forged signatures, transferred customer funds, and manipulated data, all to hit targets set by executives who looked the other way. When the scandal broke, Wells Fargo paid over $3 billion in fines. CEO John Stumpf resigned, but thousands of low-level employees were fired long before for trying to speak up or resist unethical practices. An internal investigation revealed a toxic sales culture, one that prioritized profits over people. Even after the penalties, many questioned whether real accountability ever reached the top. Scandal number 9. Enron, the energy giant that lied to the world. Enron invented fake accounting tricks so convincing, Wall Street called them genius, until $74 billion vanished. Using a method called mark-to-market accounting, they recorded projected future profits as current earnings, creating a fake image of financial strength. Meanwhile, they hid real debt through offshore shell companies with names like GDI and Chuco, all orchestrated by CFO Andrew Fastow. Wall Street was fooled. Stock prices soared. Executives cashed out with millions. But when the truth surfaced in 2001, the house of cards collapsed. Enron filed for bankruptcy, erasing $74 billion in shareholder value and wiping out employee pensions. The scandal destroyed Arthur Andersen, Enron's accounting firm, for shredding documents and covering up evidence. The case led to the creation of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, a major financial reform bill meant to prevent similar crimes. Yet Enron remains a warning. Even the brightest corporate stars can hide shadows darker than anyone imagines. Scandal number 8. Volkswagen's $30 billion clean diesel scam.
For years, Volkswagen claimed their diesel cars were environmentally friendly. They weren't. In fact, they were spewing up to 40 times the legal nitrogen oxide limits, thanks to sophisticated software called defeat devices. These devices activated emissions controls only during lab testing. On real roads, the cars polluted freely. Over 11 million vehicles worldwide were affected. When the scandal broke in 2015, it was dubbed Dieselgate. VW faced more than $30 billion in fines and settlements. CEO Martin Winterkorn resigned, and several executives were arrested. Yet many top figures evaded punishment by remaining in Germany, which refused U.S. extradition. The scandal damaged not just Volkswagen's image, but public trust in the entire automotive industry. It showed that even the most respected brands might lie if it boosts their bottom line. Scandal number 7, Theranos, the blood test that was all a lie. Theranos, led by the charismatic Elizabeth Holmes, claimed to revolutionize diagnostics. With a drop of blood, their device called Edison promised to test for over 200 conditions, quickly and cheaply. Investors poured in $700 million. Walgreens opened in-store clinics. Even former U.S. Secretaries of State joined the board. But behind the scenes, the tech never worked. Theranos secretly used commercial analyzers while pretending it was their own tech. Lab staff were silenced. Whistleblowers were threatened with lawsuits. When journalist John Carreyrou exposed the fraud in the Wall Street Journal, the house of cards finally crumbled. Patients had been misdiagnosed. Some received false HIV results. Elizabeth Holmes was eventually convicted of fraud and sentenced to prison. Theranos proved that Silicon Valley hype, combined with secrecy and unchecked power, can become a recipe for disaster. Theranos didn't just fake tech, it gambled with people's lives.
Scandal number 6. The Sackler family and the opioid crisis. Purdue Pharma, owned by the Sackler family, introduced OxyContin in 1996, claiming it was a safer opioid. They targeted doctors with aggressive marketing and falsely assured regulators the drug had low addiction potential. Behind closed doors, they knew the drug was being abused, but rather than warn the public, they pushed higher doses and wider prescriptions. Purdue made over $30 billion, while America slipped into an opioid nightmare. By 2020, over 500,000 Americans had died from opioid overdoses. Lawsuits forced Purdue into bankruptcy, and the Sacklers agreed to pay $6 billion in settlements, but without admitting wrongdoing. To many, the Sacklers became a symbol of how profit-driven healthcare can destroy lives. Their philanthropy was once celebrated. Now, their name is being removed from museums and universities around the world. Scandal number 5. FIFA, the beautiful game, Uglified. They ran soccer's biggest tournaments through suitcases of cash and backroom deals. In 2015, the world's most powerful sports organization was rocked by indictments. 14 FIFA officials were charged with bribery, fraud, racketeering, and money laundering. The U.S. Department of Justice revealed decades of corruption. Bribes were paid to secure World Cup hosting rights and media deals, sometimes in suitcases of cash. The 2010 and 2022 World Cups, South Africa and Qatar, both came under fire for suspicious votes. In Qatar's case, extreme labor violations and harsh weather raised questions. Yet the bid succeeded, allegedly helped by $1.5 billion in backdoor deals. FIFA president Sepp Blatter was banned for ethics violations. Yet many guilty officials kept their fortunes. Despite the global outrage, reform has been slow and corruption still lingers beneath the surface. Turns out, the world's favorite sport may also be its dirtiest game. Scandal number 4. WorldCom's $11 billion accounting black hole. In the early 2000s, telecom giant WorldCom faked its financial success by fraudulently classifying expenses as investments. This made the company seem profitable when it was bleeding money. Over time, they inflated profits by over $11 billion. When the truth came out in 2002, WorldCom's stock crashed, and the company filed for the largest bankruptcy in U.S. history at that time. CEO Bernard Ebbers, once a business hero, was convicted and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Thousands of employees lost retirement savings. Investors were wiped out. The scandal exposed when billions vanish from spreadsheets. It's not just numbers that get erased, it's people's futures. Scandal number 3. Lehman Brothers, the spark that lit the 2008 crash. Lehman Brothers, a 158-year-old investment bank, played a key role in the 2008 financial meltdown. It heavily invested in risky mortgage-backed securities and used deceptive accounting tactics like Repo 105 to hide its debt. As housing prices crashed, Lehman's balance sheet crumbled. In September 2008, it declared bankruptcy with over $600 billion in debt, still the largest in U.S. history. The ripple effect devastated global markets, destroyed pensions, wiped out small investors, and triggered mass layoffs. The Great Recession followed, affecting millions. Despite the chaos, few top bankers faced jail time. Many kept their bonuses, and taxpayer bailouts saved the rest. Lehman's fall remains a symbol of how Wall Street risk-taking can collapse entire economies. Scandal number 2. Monsanto, poison in the fields. Monsanto, a giant in agricultural chemicals, marketed Roundup as safe, even though studies linked its key ingredient, glyphosate, to cancer. The company ghostwrote favorable research papers, paid scientists to endorse its safety, and worked behind the scenes to silence critics and manipulate regulators. In 2018, a jury awarded $289 million to a groundskeeper who developed terminal cancer after long-term Roundup exposure. Thousands of other cases followed, eventually costing over $11 billion in settlements. After being acquired by Bayer, Monsanto's practices became a case study in how corporations can compromise science to protect profit, even at the cost of public health. Monsanto sold poison with a smile, and billions bought it. Scandal number 1, the 1MDB heist, a $4.5 billion international theft. 1MDB, One Malaysia Development Berhad, was created as a national investment fund to develop Malaysia's economy. Instead, it paid for yachts, diamonds, and the Wolf of Wall Street. Led by financier Joe Low and involving Malaysia's former Prime Minister Najib Razak, more than $4.5 billion was stolen and funneled through banks, luxury real estate, and even Hollywood movies, including The Wolf of Wall Street. Investigators across the US, Singapore, and Switzerland traced the stolen funds. Lavish parties, super yachts, diamond necklaces, and celebrity appearances were all part of the scheme. Najib was later convicted and sentenced to 12 years in prison. Joe Low remains a fugitive. Global banks like Goldman Sachs were fined for helping move the money. 1MDB exposed how political power, banking, and corruption can intertwine across borders. It was the biggest global heist you've never heard of until Hollywood made a movie about it. These scandals reveal one undeniable truth. These corporations exploited weak oversight, bought influence, buried evidence, and walked away with billions, while ordinary people lost their savings, health, and even lives. And in many cases, the system didn't stop them, it enabled them. When we hear the word scandal, we often think of politicians or celebrities. But the truth is, some of the most damaging scandals in human history have come from polished executives in luxury boardrooms wearing suits, not handcuffs. So what do we do with that truth? Do we stay silent? Or start asking tough questions about the people and systems we trust with our money, our data, even our lives? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Which scandal still keeps you up at night? Do you believe corporate leaders should face prison the same way regular citizens do? And if you want more real stories, the ones that don't make it to the headlines, follow us now. There's a lot more coming. Stay curious, stay critical, and don't always believe the press release.